Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video, inside this box, I have a brand new product from the company Lifedoo. Now Lifedoo is an Australian company who makes products for the sort of, I would say, overland 4x4 off-road genre. And this particular product is the second version to one that we've taken a look at in the past. And in the past, we did look at a Lifedoo portable stove. So a portable fire pit stove that was really excellent. I enjoyed it and put together a two-part series. First looking at it in detail and then getting it out into the field for some good practical use. But this here is the second version called the UROD. UROD, which is an acronym for You Are Our Designer. And that's a really cool concept. So with this version 2.0 of the Lifedoo portable stove, they have taken all of the feedback from customers, reviewers such as myself and many others, and they have applied all of that thought and knowledge into this version 2.0. So what we're going to do is today, I'm going to get this out, we're going to break it out, take a look at it for the first time, kind of get some ideas about where this differentiated from version 1, and then in the future, I'm going to do a full field use video getting this out into the field and putting it to some good use. But with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you, and if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Lifedoo who did provide this product for review. So again, this is the Lifedoo UROD portable fire pit stove. Again, very cool, not light. This is not going to be your backpacking option. Again, this is going to be useful for car camping, overland 4x4 and off-road sports, something that you can fold down flat and bring with you, and it's going to be portable enough so that if you need a fire pit and the ability to have a nice controlled fire, you can certainly do so. And everything from just simply warming up the area a little bit to cooking a meal and providing some good comforts for the people that you're with. So these Lifedoo stoves are pretty nice. Now at this point, I do have my version 1.0 stove at my Bushcraft Wonderland shelter. I've been building my shelter, but I brought the Lifedoo 1.0 stove there to give me, again, a safe means to make a fire and quite honestly not burn down the forest where I am and just have a nice quality controlled fire and the ability to do some cooking. So when Lifedoo reached out to me and said, would you be interested in checking out the version 2.0? Well, as I mentioned, I have greatly enjoyed the 1.0, but now getting the opportunity to take a look at this UROD fire pit, this is something I think I am going to greatly enjoy, and I am looking forward to this. And so now as we get into this unboxing, the other side of this package does have all of the shipping information, so I am not going to demonstrate that on screen. But as we get into it here, this comes just nice and tidy, and again, has some good weight to it. I'm not sure exactly how heavy this is, but we will weigh the stove itself once we get it out of the box. But just real quick, opening this up, and quite simple. Well, you can see here, everything nicely nested together. And as I slide this out and getting the box out of the way, there's a bunch of stuff in here, and I am quite curious about this. Okay, so some grates, crossbars, frame pieces, stand, and the ash tray. And that leaves me very curious about exactly what's in here, and I'm hoping this is a bag to keep everything contained, which it is, and that is fantastic. That was one of the things that, and I'm not going to say was really a complaint, but a suggestion that I had for the version 1.0, and here again, like I said, do you remember that I called this the UROD? Well, look at this right on the front. Every user is our designer. And that's the thing. At this point, I would really love if this had some sort of a case, because imagine this is full of soot and full of grease from cooking and food, and now I need to put this back in my kit. Well, unfortunately, at that point, it's going to get my gear all kinds of dirty, nasty. So that's the one thing that I could see that would be a great addition to this, is having some nice really like case or a thing that it would slide into. Once you disassemble it, pull it all apart nice and flat, slip it inside the case. That way when you add it to your kit or your gear, you're in good shape. And so if you think about that and what this means as a customer, doesn't that just make you very happy? I mean, it does for me, being a customer and a reviewer. My voice is being heard. The ideas and my life experience and my experience utilizing products now comes out in what this company and brand is doing to improve. I am beyond impressed. That to me is absolutely fantastic. And so for the very first start of this, well, let's see how this all kind of goes together. That fitting nicely inside there. Here, fitting nicely. The cross members, no problem. The actual stainless grill pieces, that working out pretty darn well. And now that all of that is in there, well, very simple. And sliding this into place, that works out, and it gives you a nice little tote. Now, the only thing that's just a little bit funny is you'll notice the handles on this side, and then the words are almost upside down when you carry it. I don't know if that was just a printing error or if that is by design, just a funny observation. Honestly, who cares? Bottom line is they have a container, a bag, a carry system, the ability to put this back in your vehicle without getting the grease and soot and grime on your vehicle. That to me is going to be key. So that was one of the things that for me, it really seemed to make sense with the version 1.0. You know, after you use it and after you cook and you get all of your ash and embers and soot, dirt and grime and grease and everything from your food all over the fire pit stove, well, now at least you have a means to carry it back. And bottom line is, if you had to, you could certainly take this bag and throw it in the wash if it did get a little bit dirty over time. So the fact that they have now included this, to me, again, absolutely wonderful. But now working on assembly. The first thing I can tell you is these end leg stands here are much lighter than the original version. Now, I can't say for sure if these are actually thinner. They do seem to be potentially a slightly thinner gauge, but at the same time a different shape, but much more manageable. I don't think the gauge is going to be a problem. These are good and durable, nice and thick. You can see these are laser cut with all of the cutouts in strategic locations for various reasons. I think this is going to be nice and durable, well coated here too. You can see on the iron, well coated, and this is awesome. The fact of the matter is just a little bit easier to maneuver, not quite as heavy, and very nicely manufactured. And so ultimately you have one on each end, and you'll notice here that there are multiple slots. So you have a pair of slots that go this way and a pair of slots that go this way. So depending on what you're doing, it looks like you can adjust this slightly different. Now, I'm not 100% sure exactly what to expect just yet. There's only one way to figure that out, and that's to get into it. So I'm going to start with the widest setting here. We'll start there, and then we'll try the narrow setting. So going to the widest. Now here on the sides, you can see there are these tabs that interlock. You end up with some holes for a couple of different reasons, and these slots across the top. A little bit of a grab handle for ease of installation. And as I get this and build this up on the side, again, I am going to the widest mode. So taking this here, sliding it in, those tabs going in easily, and just indexing down and into place. Starting on one side, sliding this into place over here, And now building out on this side. So popping that into place, and I am going into the top. So there you go. Not too difficult. That was fairly easy and nothing to it. Now here, getting this screen and setting this down into place. Well, you will see this now needs to go in the bottom holes. So sitting down and inside there, that's going to help with a couple of things. Holding up your wood, so as you get it established on the inside. It's also going to help to hold some embers in place, and whatever falls through will accumulate in that tray below. Helps to avoid catching things on fire or accidentally causing a fire in the wrong location. So that's going to be definitely quite beneficial. Now, the next thing you're going to notice is you end up with these slots. So here, some crossbars, and those fitting into place in a few different locations. So no problem. And I'm gonna go, maybe all the way on the outside and then right in the middle. So there you have nice even spacing. And finally, this grate, which sits down, you flip it this way, and that sits right down and inside here nicely. Now this does float around just a bit, but that's a good thing in my opinion, because, well, let's just say you're cooking. You can slide this one way. It's not going to pop off. Maybe if you're sloppy, it might pop off, but doesn't seem like I'm going to have too much problem there, and I can continue to feed and fuel my fire. So that's going to work out very well, and this whole thing going together very quick and very easy. And so another enhancement that you can see over the version 1, which is wonderful, that again, Lifedoo is paying attention. One of the problems that not just myself, but many of the users found is that the hole and gap in the bottom of the version 1 was a little bit tight. Here you can see nice and wide and open to allow for some better airflow. The original version, it did burn okay, but at the same time, it did tend to sort of choke itself out if you weren't careful and properly managing the fire. So this, I'm hoping we're going to find, we'll get a nice ember bed, a good even glow, and because now it's a little more open on the bottom, it will help to sustain the fire. But now at this point, I'm going to tighten this up. So removing these components, and I'm going to tighten this up. So using the inside slots here, let's see what this looks like. Now I'm hoping this will be quite simple. Just literally popping that out of place, no problem, and then just adjusting one of these at a time. Again, these tabs just index pretty easy. Slide them in and pop them down into place. It's not the most difficult. You just have to kind of pay attention, and there you go, sliding that into place, taking my end here, and again, that's going to go in the inside slot, so right there, and on this side, down and into place. So again, fairly simple, only takes a minute. Not too difficult at all, and getting back onto these cross braces. Now you'll see there is a little extra now hanging over on each side, and before I do that, just making sure I can sneak this down into place. So what do you do now to get this grate down and inside? Well, this has to go in the top set of holes, not the bottom set. So you'll see now, taking advantage of those top holes, that fits nicely in there, no problem. And these crossbars, well, here you go. And my grate, that literally only took less than a minute, and now we're back and operational. Now you can see here, this is a little more contained, slightly smaller fire, a little more concentrated, equally open on the bottom, which is nice, and you can slide this one way and kind of feed, but you're going to need to be fairly careful because you can't get substantially sized pieces of wood in here now. So you are basically at this point, if you are actively cooking, going to sort of have to feed in some smaller things if you need to maintain your fire and keep it fueled. So just something to consider. But I do think that for me, looking at this, The smaller footprint might work a little better for cooking, where it's a little bit more contained. You have a little bit more potentially even fire going on here, but it's going to be really hard to say until we get this out there and try it out. But this Lifedoo fire pit, very, very cool. And so something worth mentioning, as I was talking about before, this is not going to be your lightweight option. So ringing in here at 16 pounds, 2.3 ounces. This is not for hiking. This is not for backpacking. This Lifedoo UROD version 2 stove and fire pit, well, this is really for your car camping, your, I would call it off-road, overland, and 4x4 excursions. And so now, getting a good look at this, fully assembled, keeping in mind this is on the narrow setting, and you can see here, as I work my way across, you can see these pairs of slots. So again, that pair there for the narrow setting, that pair there for the wide, depending on what you're looking to do. The base fitting down perfectly inside that ash tray. The Lifedoo logo, nicely laser engraved there, very well done. And ultimately, your stainless grates, cooking surface, those side plates. So taking a look here, you can see the upper and lower slots. So this here being those upper slots for the narrow section, where you put the grate in the bottom, which will catch your ashes and hold your wood. Overall, very nicely done. And generally speaking, I am very excited to get this Lifedoo UROD portable fire pit into some good practical field use. And so, all right, guys, there you have it. An initial look, setup, and impression of this Lifedoo UROD portable stove and fire pit. Again, I'd like to say thank you very much to the people at Lifedoo for providing this product for review. I'm going to go back to one of my initial statements, which is the fact of the matter that Lifedoo is really willing to listen to their customers, listen to the reviewers, and right away, going into the next version of their product, make substantial changes based on their feedback. That's important. That's a big deal. And that is a great indication that that company means business. I mean, they really want to cater directly to their customers. So I think Lifedoo, that is pretty smart. And for the rest of you, again, this is just video 1 of a 2-part series. The next video I am going to produce using this Lifedoo stove is going to be a good opportunity out in the field using this for some cooking tasks. We'll go back through some of the details, but the main thing is going to be how does it function, how does it burn, and how does it cook? And if it's anything like the last time, I was very successful. I think this Lifedoo UROD stove and fire pit is going to do a fantastic job, and I absolutely cannot wait. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.